All right, welcome everyone to today's podcast, Thursday. All right, almost the end of the week. Well, like that. So what we're talking about today is auditing your calories. Just did a call, and this comes up all the time. There's a time and a place to audit your calories, but it's very effective. It's very useful, very important to audit the calories. Why? Because there is a good chance that you're way underestimating the calories that you're consuming, and so you just want to believe this as a matter of fact, right? Because you won't believe it necessarily, right? There's a saying in the sales world, anyways, and I guess in a lot of worlds, that perception is reality. And so we tend to have a perception that we're very aware of what calories we're consuming, and we're not. If you're not, if you're not at the weight you want to be at, you're probably not. Okay, let me put it that way. If you're at the weight you want to be at, you're probably doing it fine. Okay, but it's just an assumption we want to make because so much of weight loss and change is, it's not just like doing the right thing. Because what I'm always talking about is kind of the subconscious level of things, and we have a conscious mind and a subconscious mind, and the subconscious part of our mind's truly in control of pretty much everything, all of our habitual thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. Our conscious mind's aware of what's going on right now. You're aware you're listening to this. You're in whatever room you're in watching this. And but pretty much everything else is run by your subconscious mind. So when you want to create change, we have this mistaken idea that we're just going to consciously start doing the right stuff. But it's very helpful to realize that the way that you're subconsciously programmed, that the reality that you see is not the reality that's going to get you the results you want, right? Which is to say that you think you just live in reality, and it's one reality, and we're all living in one reality. And that is not true. We all live in our own realities, literally. And there's a part of our brain called the reticular activation system. And it's a part of our brain that deletes out everything that's not important to us and brings into our awareness what is important. And it happens subconsciously. So, for example, when you're driving, you notice your car on the road. You're not looking for it. It just pops into your awareness because it's important to you. It was important enough for you to spend 30 grand on it, right? It pops in your head. You're aware of it. And so we all live in our own realities based on our beliefs, our experiences, our genetics, a lot of different factors. So why do I say this? Because when it comes to losing weight, a lot of times, I'm promising you this, you're just going to have to trust me on this, because I've done over 5,000 private weight loss sessions. I've been doing this professionally for over 20 years. Okay. So please just believe me on this, that when you go and you say, okay, I'm going to lose weight, you think you're seeing where all the calories are coming from. You think you know what your bad habits are and what you need to change. But I'm here to tell you that it's more a process of discovering what is going on. Now you do know some of the things, obviously, right? So I'm eating a pint of ice cream every night. Okay, obviously, right? But it's usually deeper than that. And so the idea of auditing your calories goes along with this, because not only do we all have our own implicit biases, but when it comes to measuring the calories we're consuming, we have a $1 billion industry looking to deceive us. And they're looking to get you confused, and they want to encourage misidentification and underestimation because it causes more sales for them, right? And you can see, I mean, it's plain as day when you look at the serving, the nutritional information on the side of packages in the world now, right? They fought against that like crazy, right? And now it's like they set it up so it's kind of intuitively confusing. So what you consider to be a serving size, they might have 4 serving sizes, and so you see the big calorie thing and you assume, oh, there's X amount of calories in this container. No. There's actually 4 servings in there. So we're not good at estimating serving sizes anyways. And then on top of that, we have a whole industry looking to confuse us and take advantage of this. So when you want to lose weight, it's not enough, I think, to say, I just need to eat better. Let me just, knowing what I know now, I'm just going to make myself eat better. I think it's more helpful to realize that you have to discover, to a certain degree, what you're consuming, what you're eating, and what are you have to calibrate, what are the calories, what are the ingredients, what are those things are doing to my body? And when you embark on this journey of discovering and calibrating what your calories are, then, you get into the process of, well, let me tweak them. But I cannot tell you, I can't, I'm not going to say there was never, but rarely is there a client of mine that is not underestimating or missing the certain calories that are coming into their body. And if you don't know something's broke, you can't fix it, you know? So this idea of auditing your calories, I think, is crucial. Okay. So how do you do it? It's pretty simple. And I say it this way, that I am not a big fan of tracking or counting calories or measuring. I don't like to do that. Okay. Now, again, my golden rule is that there's no right or wrong. There's only what works for you. So if you like doing that, knock yourself out. Okay. But a lot of people don't like doing it. Why? Because it's a heavy cognitive load, right? To measure everything, to track every little thing, it's a lot of effort, right? And that's effort that could be, spent somewhere else. So that's my opinion on it. But again, you have to do what feels right to you. However, even if you hate tracking, if you hate measuring all that stuff, it would be well worth your time to take a week or a couple weeks to measure things out, to really focus on serving sizes, to really pay attention to what you're putting in your body and calibrate what your intuitions were, what you thought a serving was, what you thought the calories were, and to see the reality. You see, it's a very eye-opening process for a lot of people. It was for me. I mean, I've been on it. It's fun. I mean, I really dedicated myself to this. I've been on this my path for 30 years. And so when I first did it, it was years of really discovering, because 30 years ago, there was no nutritional information either. So it was a lot harder, but I can remember just along this path, moments of times when I realized foods I thought were healthy weren't, right? And so, you have all these biases. I remember one of the big ones, I used to think like Chinese food was really healthy. I don't know why, I just believe that. And then I found, no, there's lots of oil. Again, fast food, like kind of Americanized Chinese food is what I'm referring to. And so, no, there's a lot of oil in it. There's a lot of stuff, and it's not necessarily going to help you lose weight. It was what? And it's like, I've had so many of those experiences, thinking, oh, this is a serving size. This is how many calories. Oh my God, is that? Finding out, oh my goodness, sugar's in that, like it's amazing, much sugars and stuff. Looking, saying, what are all those ingredients? What do those do to my body? What are those going to do to my weight loss goals? And so as you start to become curious, and you have got to be, I genuinely think this, because I know in your mind you think, you know what I mean? We always have to fight that internal bias that we think we know the calories we're consuming. We know what our problem is. We just have to fix it. We have to fight against that sense of certainty. That's not true. And we have to become curious and start looking at, what am I doing? Maybe I'm missing some things, because that is no doubt about it. Most of the big discoveries I've had have been things that have been right in front of me that I just missed. So let me give you the example, right? If you close one eye and look at your nose, close the other eye and look at your nose, you see it, right? You see oh, there it is, right? Open both eyes, your brain deletes your nose from your awareness. There's no point in seeing, because it's always there. So your brain is constantly deleting, distorting information in reality. And that is absolutely happening when it comes to your calories. You're consuming a lot of times more calories than you realize it. All right. So as a client I just work with, this is a classic one. This is so common. Whereas like she started eating salads, right? Great job. And she's even tracking everything. She's tracking all the stuff. And what I said, hey, listen, measure things for a week, and especially the salad dressing. So first day, measures the salad dressing. She was putting 3 times the serving in there. That's just one example, right? And if this is the case, the big problem with this, if you're not calibrating your calories, is if you think you're doing everything right, you're like, I'm doing everything right. I'm eating salads now for lunch. I'm doing this. I'm doing this. If you feel like you're doing everything right and you're not getting results, that's one of the worst situations you can be in, because it's so discouraging, right? It's like, you feel absolutely hopeless. It's like, there's nowhere to go. And so calibrating your calories, I'm going to let you know, is a scary process, right? Because in the back of your mind, you have this subconscious fear that you're going to find out, oh my God, you know what I mean? Like, I've been struggling to eat this little, and now I find out that I'm way underestimating my serving sizes, right? So that's a natural response that people have typically. Relax with that, So the first phase is just letting yourself see the truth. And that takes a lot of emotional energy. I'm just being honest with you, right? You got to be prepared for that. So be okay with that when you're going to start tracking things, just to calibrate, and know that you just want to see the truth, and that there are a lot of ways to strategically reduce the calories. Okay. That don't mean you have to reduce the food. So that's a conversation. Maybe I'll get into that in a minute, but I want to put that idea in your mind, because I don't want you to think like, oh, I'm going to realize that, I'm eating more than I thought I was, but I was already struggling to eat just that, and I'm still hungry. And so people think, if I cut any more, I'm going to be starving. I'm not going to be able to do it. And so again, strategically, if you transition your food from more calorie dense foods to less calorie dense foods, that's kind of the path, the secret to cutting calories while feeling satisfied still. Okay. But anyways, I don't want to get into that too much. That's not what this is about. So auditing your calories again is really about measuring and paying attention to serving sizes and literally measuring them with literally measuring cups. You know what I mean? Measuring all this stuff out so you can calibrate like and understand what is a serving size. When you look at the nutritional information, what is a serving size? To see what a tablespoon is, to see what a quarter cup is, to see what 5 ounces is, to see what these measurements actually are with your eyeballs, and to calibrate that is one of the most effective things you can do for weight loss. It literally, it's like you got bad eyes and all of a sudden you get a pair of glasses and you can see everything. Do you know what I mean? Like it's that dramatic. And I'm not over exaggerating this, because we can get in this mode where we're literally just not seeing the calories we're consuming. And if you can't see them, you can't fix them. You see? So the first step is the awareness piece. And you start educating yourself with the nutritional labels as well. That's kind of the second step. So the first step is the measurement sizes, literally. Okay, there's 4 servings in this container. I usually eat half of this, right? Let me see, how are they measuring that? Oh, a quarter cup. Let me get a quarter cup out and fill it. Oh, that's what a quarter cup is. Got it. Okay. What's 2 quarter cups? A half cup. Oh, got it. I see now. Right. And then see what the calories are in it. That's kind of that first level. Calories, because ultimately your weight comes down to calories in the most scientific top level. Okay. So that's where you want to start. Serving sizes, calories that are in there. Pay attention to that. Then the next level of it is, hey, Fancy Nancy, how you doing? And I will get to your question about handling social situations. The next step is getting more, what's the word? I don't know what's the fluent, I guess, fluent with the nutritional labels, right? So understanding the ingredients in it, the breakdowns of macronutrients, carbs, proteins, fats, sugar added is a huge one you start paying attention to. And then, some of the vitamins and different things, those things again, I don't track that stuff too much because it starts getting, a little much, but the macros is good. But the first thing I would suggest right after the calories is probably the sugar. Okay. And I think that's a good thing to recognize, because sugar, the more sugar you're putting in your body, I find the harder it's going to be for you to lose weight, because it just triggers a lot of spikes and then crashes, which is to say it's a lot of hunger. Okay. It's a lot of hunger I always think of sugar as cravings on layaway, hunger on layaway. If I eat this sugar thing now, I know I'm going to want more sugar within an hour, probably, and I don't want to deal with cravings, So again, I'm getting a little more in depth than I want to here, but I approach weight mastery with a prevention mindset. So instead of just always fighting the symptoms, that's kind of how we approach it. We think we're always going to be hungry. We're always going to have unhealthy cravings. And we think we just have to fight those with our willpower. I would rather use my willpower and resolve the hunger and the cravings as much as possible, so it doesn't require as much willpower to fight against them. I hope that makes sense. It's a much more strategic approach. So as you get more fluent with the nutritional labels, the sugar is a big one I focus on. Notice the carbs, but again, carbs come in different forms. Specifically, I'm looking for sugar and flour. I'm really looking to limit those most of my week, because it just makes everything else easier. You know what I mean? Again, I'm all about making this easy because I'm lazy when it comes to, I don't want to think about this stuff, right? I just want to be able to master and live at my goal weight and be as healthy as I want to be in the easiest way possible. Right. So auditing your calories though, once you recognize what it is, I'm not going to get into what to do once you recognize the calories, because I think the first step is just auditing them, right? So I would suggest that emotional mental tips to audit your calories, because there's a resistance. You're going to feel a resistance to it. I promise you. And so I suggest the first step you approach, you just get curious. I'm just curious to know, where am I at with this? So what I'm saying is, don't measure the calories, audit the calories, and try and fix everything all at once. You're going to want to do that. And you will do that probably. But if you feel overwhelmed, pull back and just say, this first phase is just recognizing, just calibrating. What do I think the serving size is? What do I think the calorie content is of this food? And what's the reality? That's the first step. The next step after you get that phase done is saying, okay, let me strategically work on, reducing the calories. Which foods have a lot more calories and which have less. let me eat more of those. Right. And then again, just, I'm not going to go into this now, but you can look up calorie density. If you don't know about calorie density, you need to know about that, if you want to master your weight in the easiest way possible, right? It's the cornerstone of the whole thing. So I'll let you kind of look that up. So yes, but audit your calories. I strongly urge you to do that, because it's almost like, you're trying to fly blind if you don't do this. You know what I mean? You're just intuitively trying to choose the right or wrong foods, and you're not really clear what the right or wrong foods are. I promise you, unless you're a nutritionist or dietitian, like literally at that level, you just don't know. You have an intuitive, vague sense, and it's probably wrong. Why am I telling you that? Right? I've done over 5,000 private labs. I've been doing this for a long time, and this is one of the main things. I rarely see someone who's accurate, understand the calories, unless they have practice training it. And so if you have not done that, you're missing. You got a huge gaping hole in your weight loss strategy. All right. I'll let it go now. So let me get into some questions here. Let's see here. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask them. What advice would you give to handle social events? I have 3 events in March. It's so stressful. Okay. So the first thing I would suggest, now this goes back to the idea of like really preventing the problem as opposed to dealing with it, right? So it's stressful, right? So if you're anticipating social events and you're stressing out about it, there's the first problem, okay? Because that's literally, this is the programming, by the way. So my program is called Program Yourself Thin. I believe that all your weight is dictated by your mental programming, very much, because it just controls everything. So if you're anticipating these events and you're feeling stressed about it, the first thing I want to do is I'd be asking the question, how can I feel more relaxed about it? Right now, you might be stressing out because you think you're going to overeat. You might be stressing out because you have social anxiety. I don't know what the cause of the stress is, but if there's stress looking forward to something, the first thing I want to recognize is that thing's not here yet. Okay. So let me just calm down and relax, and then let me become solution oriented. Okay. Nope, it's not just you. All right, there we go. Yeah. Can you hear me now? Yeah. Can you hear me now? Can we hear me now? Yeah. I don't know what happened there. The battery is dying. It's back on. All right. So yeah, so it's important to understand if you're looking forward to something, you're feeling stressed, that's the first place you want to start. Let me calm down. And you're being problem oriented. And this is the biggest mindset distinction, in my opinion. It's right up there with fixed and growth mindset. Is most people are problem oriented. So like we've gone to social events, we've overeaten, and now we're stressed out about it. And so we're literally, say it's in 2 weeks, and we have 2 weeks of just like anticipating the stress. And so we're literally practicing feeling stressed in that situation, and we're feeling stressed now. So it's a double whammy. And so we want to start relaxing. How can I feel more calm? How can I feel more relaxed in this situation? I hope this makes sense. Because if you think about it, you've been programming yourself to be stressed in the situation. Now, I know you're basing that future programming probably on past programming, but the future programming can be different. The past, oh, good Lord. Let me try a different one here. I got a feeling these are crappy mics. I'm going to get new ones. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? A big old green light. Gone again. You can hear me again. I'm back. The back. Oh my goodness. No sound still. Yes, back on. All right. I'm sorry for this. I've never had this. These new microphones. I'm not gonna lie. This one, it didn't sound like the best, but it's been working well. But I know it's kind of I know it ain't long for this world. I can tell. So, all right. So, so anyways, you ask about the social media or social situation being stressed. And so again, I use this as an opportunity just to show you how your mind works, that a lot of times when we have challenges that we're worried about, we're literally programming ourselves to do that behavior, right? You're imagining that situation. You're imagining yourself being stressed. You're imagining yourself overeating in it. Okay. And so you're literally preparing yourself to do the exact thing you don't want to do 2, 3, 4 weeks ahead of time. Do you see? I hope that makes sense, because this is the cornerstone of my whole approach to weight loss. Once you understand that you're always pre-programming yourself. And then when we get in the moment, we're basically living on autopilot, following the pre-programming that we went through. Okay. And so it's really important to recognize that. And once you do recognize that, I just realized something. Yeah, there's the problem. It wasn't the manufacturers. It was the user. It was a user error. Yeah. So how do you be more relaxed with it? So that's the first thing is being more relaxed in a situation where you think you're going to be stressed, calming down, relaxing, because the stress itself drives overeating, right? From the bottom up and the top down, it creates more cravings the more stressed out you are, and then you have less ability to make the right choices in that state. So the first thing I would do is I start relaxing and then anticipating and imagining what would it be like to go in that situation and feel relaxed and calm, you know? And that's literally what I teach in my programs. Now that's the main approach I would use. But now I want, oh yeah, wouldn't binge at the event, right? I get it. So is there social anxiety? I'm getting the feeling there's some social anxiety too, or is it just like a total celebration, it's total fun, and you get lost, caught up in the fun? Which is it? Let me know because I'm curious, and that'll dictate which one I'd recommend. The other thing too is if it's a social event, like going to like a dinner or something, for example, there's strategies you can use. So what you want to do is you want to recognize, I always teach a thing called the hunger scale, 0 to 10. 10 is absolutely stuffed. 0 is absolutely famished. And you don't want to walk into that situation being starving. And a lot of people do this. And so we want to manage our hunger ahead of time so that we're going to go into this social situation. And before we go in, we're going to do some things to strategically manage our hunger. That may be drink a big glass of water. It may be to eat some carrots and apple, something with some fiber in it that's going to bring our hunger up to a 3-4. So once we get in there, we're not starving, and when we do that, those kind of strategies, in addition to kind of preparing ourselves and practicing being more relaxed and calm in that scenario, you're going to see that it changes lots of things. Now, this sounds like an ongoing thing for you. So I want to make clear, this is never about like, oh, here's the strategies, let's see if they work or don't work. It's about, here's some strategies, test them out, see what works and see what doesn't, and let's improve it for the next time. You see, that's the programming. Like, again, at this point, you assume you're going to be so stressed and binge so much that you literally have to avoid the event. You have no strategy to actually go in there and succeed, and it's because you're so worried. You know what I mean? You're so scared. You're so problem oriented that that's the only way you can think about it. And now most people are like this. So I'm glad you mentioned this because it gives context to this process that we all do. My brain thinks food with celebration. In that moment, I don't think of the consequences. Yeah, fair enough, right? So again, I would recognize, and if you can answer this right now, that'd be helpful. But when you've gone into these situations, where's your hunger level been at? Have you been at like a starving, more towards starving, or more towards stuffed when you go into the situation? That's the first thing. And again, right? So, but the main thing I want to point out to this, because this is, I think, a unique way to look at it. No one really looks at their weight, their eating behaviors this way, but you now assume, right? You've got this association that when I go to these social events, I binge on food. It's a celebration and I just want to eat as much as I can. Right. And so that's the programming you have. And when you get in the situation, you just do it. And now you're at the point where it's like, you just do this behavior and you consciously try and stop yourself. You're consciously worried about it, don't want it to happen, but you can't stop it. And it's because you've never changed your subconscious programming. And so I've kind of given you some of the steps to kind of get started with that. I haven't been hungry in years. Yeah, I try not to be hungry so I won't binge. And it's not working though, right? Is that what you're saying? So again, in the back of your mind, we do what we've done, right? We do what we did. And so when you're going to the situation, your pre-programming is that you're going to go in there and you're going to binge. Okay. And there's no alternative. There's you going in there and binging, and there's you going in there trying not to binge and binging. Those are the two alternatives. Those are the two ways you can think about the situation. So your ability to kind of relax and calm down and say, what would be the ideal response for me in this situation, is a question you never ask and never give any thought to. Okay. And it sounds so simple, and it sounds like, nah, Jim, you're just talking dumb shit. I can't just imagine I'm going to be fine there and it's going to make any difference. And that's where you're completely wrong. And ironically, changing your behaviors is so much easier than you think, because you're always trying to change your behaviors through your willpower, but your willpower, you have to understand, why do you need willpower? What is your willpower fighting against? That's the question you never answer, right? Your willpower is fighting against your subconscious programming, right? You now have a program that when you go into these social events, you binge on food. And so that's how you think of it. That's the only behavior you associate to that experience, right? And so now the only way you're trying to change that is by saying consciously, I'm going to fight. I'm going to try and not do that. And it's so ineffective. You just have to avoid the situations. You see, that's how limited your strategy is to change your behavior, right? And this is where everyone's at. So I'm not picking on you. Literally, everyone trying to lose their weight is doing the same thing. It may not be social situations where you can't stop yourself from binging, but there's some behaviors you have that you use your willpower to fight against them and try and stop them, and you can't do it. It's not working. right? Never do you ask, how do I want to act? How do I want to eat? And then it's not enough just to ask that. Let me program it into my subconscious mind, which is the easiest process in the world. When I say like my program yourself thin, the very core technique you learn is the program yourself thin technique. It's a self-hypnotic programming technique, right? It's self-hypnosis, easiest stuff in the world. You don't have to go into some weird trance to program yourself. It's just imagining what you want to do, because your imagination is the language of the subconscious mind. You're never asking these questions. How do I want to feel in this situation? I want to feel relaxed. What would it feel like if I was relaxed, calm, confident that I could eat well in this situation? If I went into that scenario feeling completely confident, calm, like my best self, what would that be like? You can't even do that because your brain says, we're not going to do that. We can't do that. We always binge there. We go there and we binge. There's nothing works, right? You got this negative voice that won't let you think anything else, but it's time for you to look at that voice and say, shut the fuck up. You're bringing me down the wrong path, man. This negative voice in your head, always trying to force yourself to do the right stuff, is not working for you. At some point, you got to realize, it ain't working, and do something else. And what the something else I'd suggest is to start programming yourself to act the way you want to. Right now, again, the first time you go in, it probably isn't going to work perfect. Right. But then we go back to the drawing board, say what worked and what didn't. Well, I was relaxed for the first hour. I was good for the first hour, and then it kind of fell apart. Great. How can we make it last 2 hours now? What could we do? What distinction we can make to make better? You see? And it's this solution-oriented focus that is the complete game changer, in addition to programming your subconscious mind, instead of just assuming, because what you're doing is, again, subconsciously, you're imagining yourself for a month ahead of time. You're programming yourself. You're imagining the scenario you're going to go into, and you're imagining yourself being stressed and binging on food. And then that's what you're imagining over and over and over and over again. That's hypnotic programming. You're already doing it. You're just doing it completely wrong because you don't understand what's going on there, but you're already doing it. I don't teach people to hypnotize themselves. I teach them how to do it in a way that's going to get them better results. You're doing it, you've done it, and you're always going to program yourself. You're hypnotize yourself. Okay. You've been doing it, because every time you think of that social situation, you're thinking about yourself being stressed and overeating, you see? And so that's been going on automatically. And so the alternative would be, how do I want to go in this scenario? How would I like to behave? How would I like to feel? How would I like to eat? And imagining yourself walking in there relaxed and calm, anticipating your success, going in there, not being too hungry, recognizing that when you get into celebration mode, you go into a trance where you overeat everything, and working on saying, I don't know. It's a celebration where I eat appropriately so I can celebrate in other ways. I want to celebrate by feeling good at the end of the night. I want to celebrate by being able to look at these situations and knowing I can stay in control. See, everything I'm saying is hypnotic programming, and none of this stuff is going on in your head right now. You see? So everything you all are doing behaviorally is ultimately the result of what you're saying in your head. And this is an example of it. Yep. I can easily do lots of damage and sabotage my week. Yep. Binge eating. I don't know if that person's still on it. I would love to go and relaxed and free of feel stressed and not worry about gain 10 pounds at the party. Yeah. Right. And so you know what I mean? Like that's, I'm glad you're ready to that, because it just goes to show, like, we're always hypnotizing ourselves. We're always imagining things. So you're going in this party and you're imagining to be stressed. You're going to binge so much that you're going to gain 10 pounds. Right. And so it's a huge exaggeration that has you absolutely stressed and terrified of this event. You know what I mean? You feel absolutely out of control. The second you start getting like, I want to go 10 pounds on a party, forget it, right? You can't put 10 pounds on a party, but you're exaggerating it so much. All of it's so tweaked up and exaggerated, and it's got you completely stressed out. But why though? It's not because of what happened in the past. It's partly that. It's referencing the past, and that's what you're thinking about now. But that way of thinking is causing all this tension and stress in you now, and it's preparing you, it's programming you to go into that party and eat a ton of food, because that's the only movie you're playing. You got the movie of you being stressed and binging, and you have a movie of you being stressed and binging and trying not to binge. And they're one and the same, because your subconscious mind doesn't understand negatives, right? I tell you not to think about a banana. What are you thinking about, right? So it's really important to recognize that process. Again, I mean, when it comes to weight loss, no one really understands how their subconscious mind, what part it plays. And this is why the only tool you have is willpower, and you're trying to force yourself to act a new way. And it doesn't work well, at all. And so again, the alternative is to start imagining this party the way you want it to go. I'd love to go and relaxed and free of stress. I like to be calm. I like to relax, feel in control. And as you start using that language and you start creating that reality for yourself. And so this is why, like the weight loss really does happen in your mind first, because you have to start imagining your behaviors the way you want them to go. And you never do this because you're always imagining the behaviors you don't want them to go. And then you get caught up in that and freaking out about it. And that's where all of your mental energy's at, is why do I keep doing the wrong thing? I don't want to do the wrong thing. I don't want to go to this thing, do the wrong thing. Right. And all of you, if you're struggling with your weight, I promise you, it's all you think. You're so obsessed with thinking about what's wrong with you and why you keep doing the wrong thing, because you think you're going to have some cognitive breakthrough. It's going to change everything instantly. And it's not. Okay. What's going to change it is when you consistently start to develop the muscle, the thought patterns, the neural pathways of being the person you want to be. You see? And it starts by articulating a solution, not getting fixated on the problem and what you don't want to have happen, and that's what you're focused on, So anyways, well, an idea, I don't know if you have it, but any of you listening, go to my bio and go get that hypnosis session. Okay. So I strongly suggest you listen to the hypnosis. I give it to you, it's free. And then once you opt in, it takes a couple minutes to send it to you. There's a training there, 3 steps to master your weight. Go watch it. It's a half-hour training, but it'll give you a brand new approach to master your weight. And it'll be probably a lot of new stuff that you're not thinking about that could probably give you better results than you've ever gotten. It's all free. But listen to that session and then go and see if that helps you. I bet it will, right? Because you really did articulate something important, that a lot of times it's this stress that leads to unhealthy behaviors, And so what most people do is they try and just fight the desire to do the unhealthy behavior while they're stressed, rather than dealing with the stress. You know what I mean? And relaxing it. I love your videos. It's been a huge help. I'm glad. Thank you. I'm glad you did that. So yeah, if you've been watching the videos and you haven't opted into for the free session and the other stuff, go. It's just more stuff like this, And I think what you'll find is it's just common sense. Oh my God. That's it. That is it. There we go. No more of this right now. But it was my fault. I forgot. This thing is this little case charges up the little thing, but I forgot to charge the case up for the last 2 weeks, so the case died. So everything's dead. But that's okay. You can still hear me now, right? Yeah. Does it sound worse? I always think I use the microphone because the audio is like right here. So I always think it sounds better, but yeah, it sounds better, right? Yeah. But at least you can hear me now. Anyway, I'm going to hop off in a second anyways. But yeah, anything else you guys got? I got, I will say too, like some interesting things for you all is, I have a YouTube channel and, I started putting, like, I'm doing coaching calls, with people, and, they're letting me record them. Okay. Good question. I love that question. What does that say? TikTok time, LA style. That's cool. Yeah. In LA. What was I saying? Oh, but I've been doing coaching. I did a couple of them. I put one up there right now. I got to put the other one up today, and I'm doing another one, but it's me coaching someone live video. And so you can watch it because it's a lot of these ideas in context, right? So when you see them in context with an actual person, I think that you kind of absorb them a little differently. So I would strongly recommend going over my YouTube channel and watching, at least the first one, Shay, and then I'll have the other ones up. But they're really, really helpful. And if you all ever want to, if you want to do a coaching call with me, it'll be free. It's completely free. You have to let me videotape it and put it out there, so I know it takes a certain personality style, but if that's something you're interested in, shoot me an email. You can get my email through my bio or email me at jim@programyourselfthin.com and we'll set that up. It's real simple. Best way to use the scale. Okay. So again, I have to use my disclaimer that there's no right or wrong when it comes to weight loss. There's only what works for you. And I certainly know that the scale is a hot issue, right? Some people love it, some people hate it, and it's traumatic for some people. So knowing that, you have to do what's right for you. Now, I will say, in my opinion, that if you are really serious about losing weight, I suggest using the scale, right? It's a measurement tool, right? It's kind of like, and I know you have a lot of emotion attached to it, but to me, it's like, I would rather work through that emotion and learn how to use the scale as a measurement tool. And I, kind of compare it to, and I know this isn't a perfect comparison. I understand this, but I think of it like the speedometer of a car, right? And it's like, it's just a gauge to let you know where you're at. And it's like, if you're going too fast, you don't really freak out. You just ease off on the gas, right? You're going too slow. You don't freak out. You just ease, now I know you probably said, Jim, it's a lot different than that. I understand that, but I would work on feeling an indifference to the scale and just using it as a reflection of where I'm at. Now again, that's coming. I weighed myself every day when I was actively losing weight. I don't really weigh myself anymore because my weight just stays consistent because I have a consistent lifestyle and structured eating. So I eat the same way. I live a similar lifestyle, and so I've found that when I do that, my weight stays consistently the same. So I rarely weigh myself. But when I was actively losing weight, I wanted the measurement. And so I think there's a lot of benefits to doing that. So let me talk about that, because I know, and you may hate the scale. And so if you hate the scale completely, don't use it. Okay. So I always reference, there's a thing called the weight registry study, which was I feel like it was 40,000 people at this point, of people that have lost weight and kept it off for, I think it's like at least 2 years. And I got to check those numbers out again, but I'm feeling like it was like 60% of the people weighed themselves every day. Now, again, I like to say like 60% of the people did that, but that means 40% didn't. So again, there's no one way to do this. You always have to reference what works for you. Okay. Now, that being said, the scale, I like using it every day when I actively want to lose weight. I think there's a lot of benefits to it. Number one being that you start to understand your body, and you start to understand that weight fluctuates based on a lot of different things, and especially if you're a woman, even more so. But even me as a man, my weight could fluctuate 5 pounds in a day, depending on when I weighed myself, what I ate during the day, what I did. So there's a lot of different factors. But one of the biggest things that I learned from using the scale all the time, every day, pretty much, was that I came up with this rule, or this belief, that if I want to lose weight and I want to start reducing my calories and moving towards that goal, that it's going to take about 2 weeks for it to show up on the scale for me. Okay. And so that's just something I learned over time, that it didn't show up right away. That was enlightening. And then I started to realize on average, it's about 2 weeks. Now, it's been a long time since I was kind of losing weight actively, so I haven't been able to test that in a while, but that's a belief I came up with. And so a few random times I want to drop a couple pounds, I put some weight on, I don't expect it to show up for a couple of weeks. And so that's really helpful, right? Because if I didn't have that realization, I'm looking a couple days. And then if I don't get those results, I'm feeling discouraged. And so I really created this perception that's going to take a couple of weeks for it to show up. Now, that's me. You might have a different type of body. Some people, they lose weight real quick. So it's up to each person to kind of understand their own body. But I feel like the scale helps you do that. The other thing I think that helps with using the scale every day is you do work through those emotions. To me, this is my opinion on it. If you're absolutely terrified of stepping on the scale, it's just an indicator that there's so much subconscious fear and negative energy associated with this whole process that I don't know how you're going to succeed with all of that fear and anxiety inside of you related to weight, And so I feel like the scale is almost exposure therapy. Again, I'm saying, if that's not you, then don't do it. Do you see what I'm saying? But I'm saying if you're on the edge, these are what I think, and so I think when you step on the scale every day, what ends up happening, if you just force yourself to do it, is after a week or two, you get past a lot of that anxiety and fear. You just do. It just becomes something you do. And again, it's exposure therapy. You calm down, you step on it. You're not happy with what it says, perhaps, right? You wish it went down more. Okay. But you get committed to that routine. And what happens is that scale, every time you step on it, it makes your weight and your desire to want to lose weight, it brings it front and center. It makes it a priority. You know what I mean? It's a hypnotic suggestion. Action is always the most powerful hypnotic suggestion. And so stepping on that scale is sending a signal to your subconscious mind that this is important. This is what we're working on. And I think it helps you start to connect cause and effect, because one of the worst things is, I can't step on the scale every day. Okay, well, how often do you do it? I'm going to do it every week. Okay. Because, you step on a scale Monday night and then the next week, Monday night, you're going to do it once a week. Like, again, there can be so many fluctuations. I just told you my weight could change 5 pounds in a day. So what if I stepped on the scale Monday night the week before, and whatever, I step on the next Monday night, and whatever fluctuation happened, now I'm 5 pounds over. I've been living great, doing everything healthy. And that Monday night, I'm 5 pounds up. Now, Tuesday night, I'm 5 pounds down. But I stepped on a Monday night, I'm 5 pounds up, and I'm absolutely destroyed. Now I'm eating like shit. You know what I mean? I'm totally off the reservation, right? What about that? So it's almost like either use the scale every day or don't use it at all. You know, I just use it like once a month or every other month, but it's like, if you're doing week to week, I can't think of anything worse for the psyche, the mindset than that, but that's just my opinion. Okay. And so I want you to, this is a very opinionated thing. You got to bounce this off of what your opinions are, but I'm a big fan of it. I think that there's a lot of psychological benefits, which no one really talks about that part of it, but it's exposure therapy. And I think the best part of the scale is when it goes up, when it doesn't move, all those frustrating times become, you just deal with them, you just deal with them in time, and you learn how to not go crazy with it, not to freak out. That's the biggest part of your weight loss journey. It's your emotions, right? That's the biggest challenge for you. It's like, it's fine when everything's going great. It's when you feel discouraged, when you step on the scale and you thought you lost more, or you put a pound on, you're like, oh my God, that was going to take. It's that moment when you feel so discouraged and so destroyed, that's really dictating your weight, more than anything else. And so I think the scale helps you kind of get through that. And you eventually, if you weigh yourself every day for 30 days, you just get habituated to it, and you start to realize, oh, when I do this, my weight kind of goes up. And I think that helps, and it holds you accountable. So anyways, that's my opinion on it, and take it or leave it. I truly mean that too. Some things I say that about, but this one I really mean. It's up to you if you want to use a scale or not. Okay. Cool. All right, everyone. I'm going to get out of here. Got one of those coaching calls coming up now. So like I said, so I just put the link up there too. So if you want to go, I have a podcast, right? Program Yourself Thin. Go get this session, right? If go to my bio and go listen to that, go in my description and check it out. Oh, thank you. You're so helpful. Thank you. I appreciate that. That's why I do it. So I'm trying to give you a different take on all this stuff and show you that it can be a lot easier and more enjoyable. You can master your weight once and for all. Promise. And it doesn't have to be this miserable dieting process. It can be enjoyable. It can be, inspiring, exciting, growth oriented, all the wonderful things in life you can achieve through your weight mastery, and so that's why I make all these videos. So yeah, I got a bunch of new videos going up today as well. Check them out, like them, leave some comments, and thank you very much. I'll see you all soon. Have a great day.